Did you ever find yourself at that picnic and your uncle walks up to you and he's like, "Hey, I heard that you did a weird wiring job with your mower and it worked. I have this old mower, junk, wiring issues. Do you want it?" And in the moment you're like, "Yeah." And then it shows up and you're like, what am I gonna do? That's vaguely what happened here. And yeah, we're just gonna figure out the thing that's wrong. I put the battery, it came with the battery, like, whoa. Put it on charge, boiled it for a while. Seems to be fully charged is what my little boiler box tells me. And there's wires hanging out the hood, so it looks like I already worked on this. We'll see. It's probably not going to be that fun, honestly. I mean, for a mower, it's not going to be in a journey at all. But let's dig in and let's start with just, is it a healthy motor? Does it run? Why? Why do I do these things? Why? I'll start with giving you the tour of this little thing. So, the hood, I mean, it's there. Hey, it actually opened that time. We've got a 19.5 horse Kohler. Yeah, they swapped the body. This is actually a Craftsman mower with a pull-on pro, or do you say that word? On top of it, so it has a 50-inch deck. So that's better. Yeah, there's wiring work that's been had on it. And all I did was crank it over and spray some brake cleaner down the intake, and it never even popped off. So I hope we have spark. That would be ideal. But I'm kind of doubting it, so we'll see. Other than that, it's not a bad looking tractor, I'd say, once we get her shined up a little bit. Which will only take like 9 years. Oh, there's some more professional wiring done there. And then this fuel line, that's like, I mean, you never can have too much of that. Especially without hose clamps with this dirty old filter that is mostly yellow. But there is fuel in there. So that's a start. Let's just, I really don't know where to start. Yeah, we'll start with the spark. Nope. We're gonna take the carb off. I know it's the carb. Now, fortunately for us, this hood comes off very easily. Might have to touch up this airbox with some paint as well. Might as well just rebuild the whole thing. I mean, isn't that what those spray cans are made for? Oh, hello. Looks like the air filter was changed last decade or so. That's a lot of grass in there. Holy. Let's get them out. Ouch. Jeez. Well, these were plenty tight. I can tell you that much right now. Oh, it's a pretty big carburetor. And that is a lot of grass. Holy. Wow. There is grass everywhere. Rebuilt. How does that do the thing? Like, what? I'll bring you in just a tickle. Just look at this carburetor. There it goes. Awesome. Well, now how do I disconnect you? How do you do the thing? I'll stick this thing back on before I lose it, so that I can lose it later. Okay, fuel line. And there's no hose clamp, so just twist. Come on. She's stuck. Where's that hose clamp right there? Oh, that's one of them funky clamps. Ah, buddy. Okay. Well. Huh. There we go. Disconnected. I gotta figure out how to get this off here still. Jeez. But we got the carb off, so let's get it up on a table and start plugging in. Alright. There's one thing that I always deal with. It's carburetors. Unfortunately, I forgot to add that part in there. I deal with more carburetors than I would ever have thought in my life. And, they're all, I mean, close to the same in general. Pretty much, if you know what you're looking for, you'll find it. And once you find it, I mean, just make sure every little thing is clean and that you don't ruin any surfaces or anything. And boom, you're done. A decent amount of sediment. It was a little small though. It's almost been stuff that got past the filter tray. This is an interesting style of carburetor though. Not too many I've dealt with like this. This is like Ford Model A stuff right here, which I have dealt with many of those. So, honestly, not bad on the inside. Seems to only have our main jet that is right here, but I don't know how I'm supposed to take that out. Okay. Well, in that case, the best I can do is just spray everything down. Our main jet, inside the bowl, the outside of the bowl, just clean this all up. Make sure there's no gasket leaks anywhere, there's no cracks in it. We can take this front body off, actually. I don't know if I will though, because that might be another gasket that needs replaced. So let me just get some cleaner and we'll just, one step at a time, get this sucker down. So you can buy whatever you want. You can buy, you know, stuff like this. And yeah, that's perfect. But the little, like, $1.99 Walmart can of brake parts cleaner works great for me. So in reality, it's just up to you, whatever you want to use. Start with the outside, then we'll finish on the inside of it. Now this is, I think, what would be called an updraft style, because your intake would be up top, yeah. Yeah, this is an updraft. And they're actually kind of cool. They've been used for an incredibly long time. Like I said, I've worked on many Ford Model A's that have all updraft style carburetors from companies like Zenith and stuff like that, or Zenith, whatever you want to call it. That's the popular one. Holley even made some. There's some good carburetors for the time, at least. Now, I mean, there's a lot more efficient ways. I'm not even just talking about fuel injection, but like there's a lot of different styles of carburetors. And a lot of them, as you keep going newer, they get more and more efficient, or they're way more reliable. Personally, my favorite, comment your favorite carburetor brand. Mine is Holley. I mean, and I'm going to say why. The downside first is also kind of part of the upside. Downside is that you have to get them tuned in, like, real good, or it's gonna not hardly run worth anything. But once you get it dialed in, it's tuned in, boy, she runs better than anything for what I have found from running Holleys. My Camaro has a Holley on it, and it runs pretty good. It took a lot of trial and error to get it set up though, because that was the first big carburetor that I ever messed with for my own vehicle. So I, had the vacuum gauge hooked in, and I'm messing with all this stuff, and took a long time. Found out a set of spark plugs, threw a new set in, and figured her out. Don't run cheap spark plugs. It's the other big thing I'm gonna say. Cheap spark plugs, man, they suck. I used to do that. I used to run like a Champion set or something. Don't do it. I found out a whole set of spark plugs, and then I had to buy another set. They were expensive. I bought AC Delcos. Spark plugs are expensive now, but man, was it worth it. Thing runs so much better now. Here we go, cleaned inside and out. Let's go slap this back on and see if we can make it have some noise. I want to get a sample of that fuel. Let's just set that there and see what it tells us. Oh, she's in gear. Whoops. Alright. Very yellow. Very yellow. I'll put some treatment in there for sure. I'm gonna end up still using it though. Alright, I'll get these snugged down real quick, everything else put back on, and I'll catch you when she's ready to fire. Alright, everything's hooked up. We're gonna see if we can get this thing to even start. Because it's gonna have to fill that fuel bowl. So hopefully we have enough battery. thing runs surprisingly well. Huh. Who would have guessed? Oh, okay. Runs though. Let's see if it fires back up actually. Awesome. Now, whenever this thing first fired up, you heard it was running a little bit rough. And I'm assuming that's how they probably drove it for a while, because it still ran nevertheless. But on your carburetor, you're going to have some sort of idle screw, and usually 2 mixture screws. One for air, one for fuel. They were both turned in pretty far, so I was like, well, I'm going to turn them out a little bit, see if that helps. They both helped significantly, and it started running way smoother. And then I was able to turn my idle screw out a little bit, because it was extremely tight. So I do want to get a little bit tighter of a spring on this throttle. I have some, so I'll throw one of those on. And I'll get the airbox cleaned and painted. I'll get that set on. And in the meantime, probably going to take this deck off, because we're going to have to do... Got the trusty old deck removed. It was actually pretty simple, just a couple of them pins you're supposed to pull up, and it would have been easier if somebody hadn't replaced some of them with cotter pins or nails bent, but I got it off. And as you can tell, there's like so much grass clumped in here. I think that could be one of the issues. I was just told that it made a bunch of noise, is all I was told. And I'm going to bend this corner back out, which probably is going to take the majority of the time. But the mower itself runs really good now, actually. So I think we got the running issue down. It's just getting this deck fixed and then shining it up a little bit, and we'll see if anybody on Facebook needs a new mower. So we'll get this deck all torn down and cleaned up, and we'll go from there. One thing to be noted, that red air filter cap, if you want to repaint stuff like this, it's like a 15-minute craft project basically. Get yourself some... I bought Rust-Oleum because I'm cheap. I heard Duplicolor is way better, but I'm cheap, and I can't afford to spend, the extra $3 on a can of Duplicolor. So I use Rust-Oleum for now. This is just, bonds to anything, and basically it's red. So that's all I needed. And I keep a small stash of some of the important colors. In fact, I'm actually running low. I have blue somewhere, and black somewhere, and clear coat. But just keep some of them on hand, and it really helps. I also have like actual automotive clear coat, but yeah, it's a mower, so it's not getting nothing like that. And I might actually use this can of undercoating. This is also from Walmart. Krylon Automotive. I think this, it's not a full can. I know I used it a little bit of it once, so I really ain't too sure. I might have to go buy some. And we'll get this cleaned off and take a look to see if we can find any issues with it. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellers and fellettes, boys and girls. I don't know. It's been like 3 days since I touched the lawnmower. And after I had the deck off and pressure washed it and then didn't paint it because I'm lazy, I threw it on, and like I said, I was told there was a noise, and it is very significant. And before, like I said, this has now been determined that it's going to my brother. I'm not keeping it. I got to figure out the deck. We got to get it running smooth and then cutting smooth so that I can just give it to him, and then we can just not worry about this taking up more room than it needs to. And we don't got much room in here now because my Camaro is in here, and paint chip. I don't know. Stuff needs to happen, and there's not a lot of room. I guess this is problems with owning a little garage. That guy does. Oh, that fella back there does too. I know it. But we're gonna take this deck off and just go through everything right away and just get everything out of the picture that it could be. And then we're going to talk about this car, because might be seeing more of this very, very shortly. More projects. Really. To be quite honest, I don't quite remember where we left off. But, I mean, if I were to hop on this thing, I think she'd fire it up still. Guess we could check that too. Neutralis. Or just give her tickle choke, you know. Wow. I think we did a pretty good job on the tune-up on this thing. Now we just gotta get her cutting good. So, that's what we're on to now. Now that I've taken the deck off, it should only take me about 5 minutes or so, and we'll have this pulled out, slipped away, and then probably, it's kind of hard to pull the mower out because the vending machine that's perfectly blocking our exit, so I don't think this will fit outside. So if I want to get this out, I'll have to back it up, move the car out, bring this out, put the car back in. It's just a mess. It's a mess. Let's get this deck off. So I got our deck here, just kind of, it's out basically, and as you can tell, it's been washed, but not painted. But I might do that this time. I don't know. We'll see. Play it by ear. So this is about how much room we have. About the width of a thin little rug, and then a bunch of tables. The vending machine blocking it from pulling out. My car on this side, and then this is our floor space basically. So about enough room to fit a deck right there. So that'll work out great. Just perfect. So I gotta do that now, and we're gonna tear this stuff off and put it back on, and maybe that'll do something. You never know. Alright, I'm just gonna set this up, do a time lapse, because I really don't know what I'm doing. And then once I get it all apart and figure some stuff out, then I'll tell you what I did. So I'm just gotta take this stuff off. I'm out of breath. Jeez Louise. Alright, so I started greasing some of the pulleys up on top. Those are going good. I think I found an issue. So I pulled this center blade out first by chance. And then this was sitting perfectly like this, with all those ball bearings stuffed on this corner. So I'm going to try my best to just stuff them back in here. Get this all back in there and greased without failure. I don't know if I can do that. This might need actual parts, but we're going to try to make it work, you know, the right way. So let's start with that, and we'll see how far that gets us, because honestly, I'm scared. This is gonna be interesting. Alright, so I got the center one fixed. The outside one seemed to be good. In fact, that one looks like it was replaced. I'm going to definitely look for, I guess, a whole assembly for that to sit up in for this 50-inch Craftsman deck is what I'm going to try to look for. But I think I have it set up to where it might work. I can't guarantee it, and if this is your mower, do not by any means try that. That is just what I'm going to attempt, so you're at your own risk. But it seems to be, it's hard to do with one hand, but it's going pretty smooth. Like, there's no major noises. I was spinning it pretty fast, I wasn't getting none. So basically it's time to throw it back on, and then we'll test it out. So I'm gonna throw it on real quick, and then I'll catch you guys up when it's on and ready to fire up again. All right, got the deck slapped back on, just fresh on. So we're gonna kind of see how this is about to work out. I really have low expectations, but high hopes that this is going to work. Because that would make this really nice. I could just toss it on over to his house tomorrow, and boom, I got rid of a mower. But we'll see. We're going to keep the throttle down low because we're sitting on a concrete floor, but don't worry, there's nothing underneath it. Well, that makes a heck of a lot of noise. There's a lot of shaking, but I think with everything wore out, it's just the way it's going to have to be. So I'll send it off down the road. He's pretty close, and if he has any issues, it'll be back, and we'll see if it, cuts grass at his place. So I'll run that out there, and then I guess that's it. Well, there you have it. I mean, we took the mower that didn't run, had electrical problems. Electrical problems were pretty simple. I ran just a couple new wires to the positive side of the battery that were not there before, and left most of the random wires just taped off, and we don't need them, basically. I mean, it charges and the deck works, and there's a switch now, not just 2 wires. So I'd say that's as taken care of as I can get it. All the gears work. It runs actually surprisingly well, and a little tune-up really did help this thing. So must I say, this is complete, and I'm going to send this off to my brother to test out in his yard, and if it cuts good, he can keep it. If not, it'll be back here, and we'll do another tune-up and maybe sharpen the blades if it needs it. But I mean, it's like I said, it's coming to the near of winter, hence it's dark outside, and it's 7:55, so that sucks. But that means we're only going to have a couple more cuts this year, then this thing can be stored away for winter, and then we'll deal with it the following year when it needs started back up again. If I'm lucky, it'll fire right up, but I'm not lucky. But that brings this series short to an end. This is the budget build of the lawnmower. If you like series kind of like this, maybe another one a little more in depth with a little more of a build to keep or to sell, which is what I was planning on doing with this. Dang it! But you gotta help people out sometimes. So if you do enjoy that stuff and you want to see more like this, stay tuned. There's lots more coming, and a lot more on a 1983 Z28 Camaro. Yeah, that's coming next. Maybe another lawnmower too, though. I would like to get another one of those. So just stay around, basically, is what I'm saying. And hope you enjoyed this as the first official episode. And I'll catch you guys, I don't know, when I get stuff figured out. It might be a while, but I'll be back. So enjoy your evening, morning, day, and catch you guys next time. Thank you.